Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, and with me today I have Richard Fletcher, who's an online coach who's helped people to get to 20k of business within a week or two just by tweaking their social media. And he's here today to talk about how to promote yourself organically on Facebook. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Luana. Thanks for having me on.
It's really, really awesome to have you on. And what timing as well. I woke up this morning and you're everywhere. Everybody's talking about your ecosystem. I've seen.
I know all these posts in the US and stuff, BBC News and Fox and stuff. I'm like, it's like the part of me was like, why do they want to talk about little old me? And then I'm like, yay, I'm awesome. So it's kind of why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Well, I think the main part that I saw was that you helped a photographer get from 1,000. He was charging, was it 1,500 for a day? And he instantly changed that to 15,000. Is that right?
Yeah. Do you want to hear the long story behind that?
Go for it.
Okay. So this guy's in New Zealand, and actually he specializes in what's called a pre-wedding shoot, which I'd never even heard of as being a thing before I spoke to him. But he's like a New Zealand Japanese guy. So his market is rich Asians, like rich people from China and Japan and South Korea mainly. And what they do is they go on these destination weddings where they fly out and they spend a crazy amount of money. Usually their criteria is who is the most expensive, therefore that's the best. So what he was doing is when he was charging $1,500 a day, which sounds like loads, doesn't it? Sounds like a huge amount of money to pay for a day of a photo shoot. What would happen is they'd fly out 6 months before the wedding and they'd hire a dress and all that kind of stuff. And they'd do a photo shoot. Then they'd go back again and then they'd come out again for the wedding. Or they might even get married somewhere completely different already. So they'd fly out to New Zealand in Queenstown where they've got like all this beautiful scenery and they can go up in a helicopter and get like photos on a mountain in the wedding dress and all that stuff, and then get married back at home, potentially a lot of the time. So I said to him, well, what's the most expensive person who's doing what you're doing in Queenstown? What are they charging? And he said, 10K. I go, okay, well, what do they provide? He goes, well, nothing different to me, really. I go, okay, well, what about the cheapest? He goes, well, they're about $500. Well, what do they provide? Well, kind of similar, but you don't get the helicopter and stuff with them. And I go, so everyone's kind of providing the same thing. It's just perception, really. Obviously, if your pictures are of a rubbish quality, like you took them on an iPhone, you don't know what they're doing, people are going to notice. But once you know what you're doing with pictures, they kind of all look the same, you know, like once someone's a professional. So it's all about perception. And I said to him that there is a subsection of the market, a small percentage of people who are looking for the Valentino, the Gucci of any market. Like, what's the highest end purchase in this category? I want to buy that, because to them it's a sign of quality, but it's also a status symbol as well. Like, I'm able to afford 15 grand a day to pay for a photographer. So it's kind of like a plus point in their thing. They don't want to pay 1,500 because their friends look down and go, you went for this cheap guy. Why did you do that? So I said to him, you kind of, you're freezing out the low end people who want to pay $500, and you're freezing out the high end people who want to pay the max. Who's going for the middle guy? So I said, I've got a strategy for you, but it's kind of a ballsy move. Like, you're going to have to be brave with this one. Are you ready for it? And he sort of goes, okay, go on then. What is it? And I said, change your website so that it says, I am the most expensive wedding photographer in Queenstown, New Zealand, ... And there's a good reason for that. And then we go and explain why he's the most expensive and why he's the best, and show some of his pictures, show some of the happy couples who are just like the people who are his prospects. And guess what? Now we're like some 6 months later, he's completely fully booked. He's like, I've got too much business who are all paying 15 grand and I'm raising my prices again.
That's incredible. So that is a ballsy move. So he's got most expensive on his website. So straight out there with it. That's incredible, and a really important lesson as well about perception.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's about knowing your target market, who are you talking to? And instead of being like, oh, but if I say this, I'm going to alienate the people who can't afford it. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Because the only because what will happen is the majority of people who go to his website are going to be like, okay, this guy isn't for me. I can't afford that. But 1% of people who visit, let's say, just to throw a number out there, it's going to be a low percentage. Let's say 1% of people visit, go, okay, I'm listening. And then they scroll down the page and go, this works. Now, his photos are incredible, to be fair. His photos are really, really good. And he made an impressive video. Like, I don't know if you've seen the testimonial video he did for me, but it's better than any video I could produce. And it's just a testimonial video. It's incredible. So his work is good. Obviously, you can't do this if you're an amateur, but his work stands up to saying, I'm the most expensive. Like, you look at it and you go, this is really good. But if he was charging only $1,000, then you go, well, I guess he isn't as good. That's just how kind of people are. It's hard to, when you're talking about something that's not an obvious commodity, like a Mars bar, where everyone pays 50p, let's say, for a Mars bar, and if someone's charging £10 for it, then that doesn't make sense. When you're talking about something that's not a commodity like that, like a service, perception is everything.
Wow. That's amazing. Like, really important, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't have thought about that with the pricing, but I'm really glad that you said, obviously, it's not something an amateur would do. You have to make sure that what you're offering is actually worth that and that people are going to pay it.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, it does work across industries, but you can't just go, oh, I'm charging, let's say, $1,000 for a month of coaching. I'm now going to charge $100,000. There's got to be a reason behind it. There's got to be kind of something that justifies that. And as long as you can justify it, there'll be someone there that pays it. But the problem is, if you're like a brand new business coach who's done like a 2-hour digital marketing course that they completed this weekend, and you don't know anything else, people are going to quickly find out once they've paid you $100K and you don't know anything about how to make money. They're kind of going to look at that. Because it's sort of like business coaching is one of those industries where people pay you a certain amount of money, they expect to get more in return. So it's obvious whether it's working or not. Whereas photography is kind of, well, as long as you provide some nice photos and a nice video, you've done your job.
Wow, very interesting. So how did you gain all of this knowledge? You know, what's been your background and what's led you up to this point?
Well, I've done a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, I started with in 2003 with a Herbalife MLM, which didn't work out. I got
I did that.
Did you? Well, did you do the same as me? I bought $3,000 worth of stock because my upline distributor was like, well, if you want to get on the super duper diamond distributor, coolest guy in the world plan that pays you a higher level of commission, you need to get more stock up front. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm a super distributor, and I'm like, if you're taking your business seriously, you need to sign up for the max plan. I'm like, okay, I'm taking it seriously.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
I filled my parents' garage with $3,000 worth of stock, which never got sold. So that was a starting point to business. Not great. I hope your experience was better than mine.
Pretty similar, to be fair.
But then I found another MLM, similar results. I used to come in from work every day and do 30 cold calls every evening from 6 till 8 p.m. Ringing people I had a list of people who'd been in MLMs before, and I'd just be interrupting them while they were having their tea and stuff, and they'd be like, who is this? How did you get my number? That was soul destroying. I got one in 3 months of doing 30 calls every night. I got one person to sign up, which was just
oh my God. Well, it says a lot about your what's the word I'm looking for? The fact that you've kept going all that time, your persistence.
Yeah, I don't know if the word you're looking for is resilience, but yeah, it's just I just felt I felt like it's one of those stories where you tell it now and it's kind of funny. It's oh yeah, okay, you did 3 months of calls, but at the time you're just I want to give up every step of the way.
It must have been so destroying. So what kept you going?
Yeah, well, when I speak to people today and they're struggling with their sales calls, I'm like, I know what it was like back in the day. So, and I know what needs to be fixed. And sometimes it's a matter of sometimes it's a matter of fixing something specific, and sometimes it's a matter of sticking with it. So I've got that kind of ground in there. But then I went from that into actually starting businesses. So I started my first website in 2005 was called The Travel Monkey. And it was a website aimed at helping backpackers know how to travel the world, where to go, how to get cheap tickets, all that kind of stuff. And it did okay to start with because I had no idea what I was doing. I made the site, And within a couple of months, it got like 1,500 unique visitors a month, which, not loads, but it was okay back then. I had people sending me messages going, "Oh, your site's brilliant. Thanks for all the help." But I had no idea how to monetize it. So after about 6 months of that, I just gave it up and stopped doing it. And I look back at that and I think, God, I missed out there. Like that could have been a TripAdvisor now or something. Then I went through a bunch of other stuff. I went through like bulking up for men. Like I had a site called bulkupfast.com. By the way, if anyone wants to look at these sites, if you go on the internet, I think you search for the internet website archive, you can see what all these sites look like. It was the travelmonkey.net, bulkupfast. I can't remember if it was .net or .org or I think it was .com actually. You can look at what those old sites looked like back in the day to see how far I've come. And then I wrote an ebook about online dating, and I paid a copywriter $5,000, I think it was, to write a sales page for me. And the sales page was good, but I had no idea how to get any traffic to a site. So that bombed. I didn't even think I just thought I'll throw the page up and people will buy it, but nobody's going to buy it if they don't see it, are they? Like, you look. Like, do you ever do this stuff where you look back at some of the decisions you made and things you didn't think, how did I not see this?
Oh God, yes, all the time.
Like, how was I such a moron to not like go, well, if no one sees a page, no one's going to buy it, idiot.
Yeah.
So it's like obvious, isn't it? But no, this was only like 2010, so not like a crazy amount of time ago. I suppose it's nearly a decade, isn't it? And then I got into all of this was while having a day job. Then I got into about 2014. I got into dating coaching. I found an online coach who was like, okay, why don't you set up a program, get people online, put them through the program, and charge a bit more for it, rather than trying to sell these cheap ebooks. And that's what I did. And it took me a while to figure it out. I had 4 different rebrands of my website before I finally hit on something called the no game principle, which I won't go into massive details on it, but there's a load of guys who like found all this pickup stuff, like the sleazy stuff of like running routines and memorized canned lines to say to girls to kind of like, pick them up in bars and stuff. And a lot of them got caught up in that and like didn't really get great results. So to those guys, the idea that you could quote unquote be natural, like not have to try, not have to remember anything, and people and girls will actually like you as a result. But if you were able to be natural in the right way, was kind of appealing to that specific audience, that specific kind of guy. So within like a week of rebranding my site, I sold someone into my new 5K program, and I sold a bunch of others afterwards, and I carried on doing that. And I carried on doing that until last year when I got married, and I just kind of got sick of dating. I got sick of talking about bars and meeting women and sort of speaking to the same old guys and the same problems, and I just kind of lost interest in it. And without meaning to, I just sort of fell into business coaching, and here I am today. So that was a long story. I hope it wasn't too long, but yeah, that's how I came to where I am now. Long road.
Amazing. Well, I have to say that I am very pleased that you've started the ecosystem. Like, obviously, I'm one of your members, and I am absolutely loving it. So, yes, this is all very exciting. So today, you're going to help anybody listening today. You're going to talk about how to promote themselves organically on Facebook. So what's the first thing that they need to know?
Okay, so just in case anyone's unclear, I'm sure everyone knows, but just to qualify what organic means. So organic is basically anything that you don't pay for. So when you make a post on your Facebook personal profile, that's organic. So people see that post, you're not paying any money for them to see that post, as opposed to running a Facebook ad and it appears on your newsfeed. And those posts that say sponsored, that's an ad. So people are paying for you to see that ad. So we're talking about anything you don't pay money for. So what I do is I don't post on my Facebook business page. I post on my personal profile. And the reason for doing that, the first thing you need to know is post on your personal profile on Facebook as opposed to your business profile, because the reach being qualified as how many people see your post is absolutely awful on business profiles, on business pages rather. So if you make a post on your business page, let's say you've got 1,000 followers, Facebook shows it to around 1% of those at the moment. So 10 people of your 1,000 followers will actually see it. So it's kind of a complete waste of time. Whereas if you post on your personal feed, the reach is a lot better. A lot more people see it. You get a lot more interaction. Plus, I find that people interact with personal profiles a lot better than businesses. when you see a post from a business appear on your Facebook feed, you're a bit like, oh, it's a business. So you don't tend to interact with it in the same way. Whereas when it's a person, you have a much better interaction, which allows you to create relationships and connections that you don't get from a business. So that's the first thing.
Is that allowed on Facebook? Are you allowed to promote your business on your personal profile?
So that's a great question. And the answer is no. So you have to be really, really careful about how you promote. So when you promote, you're not going in for like a hard sell, you know, like sign up now, doors close at midnight tonight. And now you're making these hard sell promotions every day, because people are quickly going to get sick of that. They're going to start reporting your profile and you will get banned. And that has happened to a number of people. So what instead I do is it's more like a soft sell. I have a number of different type of posts I make, which either get people to engage with me. So you get likes and comments. So when someone goes to your profile and they see all these likes and comments, they see the social proof aspect makes them go, well, other people are listening to this person, so they must be worth listening to. I also have types of posts where I call a value post. So when you make a value post, you are teaching someone something that they don't already know. This is a huge part that most people are getting most people are making a mistake with their content. So a lot of people are trying this. A lot of people are making posts on the Facebook personal feed, trying to get people into their coaching program, and they're trying to write these value posts. But the mistake they make is it's just not valuable. They're saying stuff we've all heard 100 times before, like, you know, if you want to be successful in business, you need to be authentic, or, you know, you need to show gratitude. Squeeze your gratitude rock at least once a day to show gratitude. Feel grateful for something in your life, or, you know, you need to be authentic. You need to be. It's all about positivity, sharing positive thoughts rather than negative thoughts. It's like people make posts like this, and it's kind of when it appears on your news feed, you don't really disagree with it, do you? You know, you kind of think, yes, you need to be authentic, because who's sat there going, actually, I think the secret is in being inauthentic. You need to be fake as possible. You need to be a massive liar. That's the secret. Is anybody like reading a post going, oh, right, I thought the answer was being fake. I've learned something today. Nobody's doing that, are they?
I'm tempted to post that just for a laugh. See what happens.
Yeah, well, I might do that. I might say, you know, I might write a post saying the answer to success in business is to be as fake as possible, lie about everything. But I'm just worried that most of our friends in America will take that seriously. Not to insult anyone out there, but like sometimes people take some of my sarcastic posts seriously, so I have to be a bit careful there. But yeah, you should try posting that. It's quite funny. It's like the antithesis of what everyone else is posting. It's like, we get it. You need to be positive. You need to be authentic, all that kind of stuff. But it's not teaching you anything. So I guess the second piece of advice I would offer is, you're not trying to hard sell on your profile, but when you write a value post, you need to be teaching someone something that they don't already know. So it's not necessarily about giving them the secret in terms of, here's my secret magic sauce in terms of how to get the results so they don't need your help anymore. It's about, perhaps you might write a post about going, okay, maybe you've heard everybody else in the industry saying that the answer to success is positivity, or the answer is authenticity. I'm going to tell you today why that's a load of rubbish. Or I'm going to tell you today why, yes, that's true, but that alone will not give you the result. And then you teach them, okay, what is it about authenticity that isn't true? Or maybe you give them something extra about authenticity. You know, everyone else is saying to be authentic, but no one actually says, what does being authentic mean? How do you know if you're being authentic? Everyone thinks they're being authentic. How do you know if you're not being? And we've all got different sides of our personality. Like, I've got the side of myself where I can be a bit shy. I've got the side where I can be really confident and loud. I've got the side where I can listen and be quiet. I've got the side where I can be the life of the party and, like, you know, in everyone's face. I've got the side where I can be telling loads of jokes. I've got the side I can be more thoughtful, etc. You know, so which side is me? Which side is authentic? Which side is fake in any given moment? How do I know which side to share? These are questions that I've never seen answered on Facebook. But if somebody can answer those in a way that makes me go, right, now that makes sense. Now you've offered something of value. So what I see on my feed is a lot of people giving like the high level tips, like this, basically the advice that anyone in the world could say, yeah, you need to be authentic. But I don't see many people going to a level of detail where it's clear that this person has a really deep level of insight in their industry beyond everybody else. Because once I see that someone's got that level of insight into something I want to know about, now I'm paying attention to them. Now I'm liking their posts, I'm commenting on them, and I want to see more of their posts. When their posts appear on my newsfeed, I'm paying attention to them because I know I get value from this person. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. That's brilliant. So how regularly should people post? Is there a certain number or a certain time or anything that you'd suggest?
Yes. Yeah. So it's not a hard and fast rule here. I'll come back to that question in 1 second if that's okay. Mm-hmm. There's another kind of post that's really, really important that people miss. Probably the most important kind of post in terms of generating leads. So value posts generate goodwill with people. So it's like, you've given me something of value. Thank you. I'm grateful. So it's kind of like putting, have you read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
I have not.
You haven't? You must be literally the only person in the entrepreneurial space who hasn't. Well,
I've literally read every other book in the world.
That was one of the first ones I read, actually, when I started getting into personal development stuff. And one of his habits is, I can't remember what it's exactly called, but it's about you've got to put money into the emotional bank account before you can take it out. So if your emotional bank account's zero and you're asking your audience, in his case, he's talking about friends and family, whatever, but you're requesting to take money out of the emotional bank account. There's nothing in it. You can't do that. And people are like this. So that's the equivalent of like an MLM person posting every day saying, join my MLM, join Juice Plus, join whatever, every single day, and not providing any value. Eventually you get sick of it and you're like, this person only wants to take from me and doesn't give anything back. Whereas if you give a lot of value up front and you give a lot of useful stuff like, right, now I see why what I'm doing isn't working. No one else has been able to explain it so clearly before. Then that puts money, if you like, in the emotional bank account. So then you can ask for a sale later and people aren't going to be so annoyed. People aren't going to report you because they like your content. So the other kind of post that's really important is what I call a credibility post. This is where you talk about case studies where you might say, this is how my client Luana signed up 3 people last week into her program when previously she was struggling to enroll people on a call. These are the things we changed about it. And I might share a video testimonial. I might just share a story. I might share a text post as the image. And if you share enough of those, maybe 1 a week is good, then people see this person isn't full of, I was going to swear then, but I know I can't on this. This person isn't full of nonsense. There you go. It feels weird.
Well saved.
Do you know what? Thank you. I need to. I probably need to clean out my potty mouth anyway. This is a good exercise for me. But this person isn't full of nonsense. This person is getting results for people. One of my best posts for getting leads is I did a post like about 6 months ago where I said I did a live video on Facebook where I said, "Here's the 3 things that I did that gave me my first ever 20K week last week and how you can steal this for yourself." So rather than making a post that's like, I'm so great, I just did a 20K week, aren't I brilliant, which is kind of self-serving, I did it as a kind of like a value post as well, where I'm teaching you some tips on how to achieve this. But really what I'm doing is saying, I made 20K last week, you didn't. You want to listen to me because I know how to do this. So people pay attention to that and go, okay, this guy is getting results for himself and other people. I guess I'd like to get those results too. So have a think about it. If you're some sort of coach or if you're a consultant as well, let's say you're a Facebook ads consultant, how can you demonstrate that you're getting results for your clients instead of just being like, oh, value post, or just, engagement post asking questions? How can you show you get results? Because ultimately, I think as consumers, we've never been more skeptical as a society. Would you agree with that, Luana?
100%, especially in the online world.
Absolutely, yeah, especially online. But online, I don't think I've signed up a single person into my program who hasn't been through a course already, at least one course, usually multiple ones, and paid like 10K a pop for them, and not come out of that and been disappointed or been like, well, I paid 10K and I learned some good stuff, but it wasn't really worth the money. I don't think there's a single person who's enrolled who hasn't had that experience, which makes my job harder because when they see me at first, they're like, oh, here's another person who's promising all this stuff. So you have to show people that you're getting results. You have to show people that, hey, although I've got a result for somebody in my program went through all of these other programs before and didn't get the result, but they got the result with me, and here's why. It shows, it helps people believe. It helps people think, well, I went through all those other programs too. Maybe I could get the result this time. In fact, that's actually my target market, people who've been through all those programs and not got the results. So these people are willing to spend money because they've done it before, but they're more skeptical than everybody else because they've been burned before. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. They're willing to spend the money, but it's harder to convince them. But once you get these people on side, and especially once you get the result once you get the result for them, they become your like lifelong sort of disciples forever. They absolutely love you for it because you helped them when no one else could.
Yes.
But now I need to answer the question you asked about 20 minutes ago. which
Okay.
was, how many posts a day, right?
Yeah, and is there a specific time or anything like that you'd suggest posting? Or do you suggest just going for it as it comes into your head?
I've tested. So I'll answer the first question first, which was how many posts a day. I recommend no more than one. There are exceptions, but if you are going to post twice in a day, make it like 9 o'clock in the morning, then 8 o'clock in the evening or something, to spread it out. Then people in different time zones might see your post. But if you post like right next to each other, I see some people who post like 7 times a day. They'll post like 11 o'clock, then 10 past 11, then 11:40, then 12:30, then 2 o'clock. And you're like, there's no way your audience are going to see all those posts, apart from like your biggest fans who comment on everything. So what ends up happening is those posts compete against each other in the newsfeed. The way Facebook decides whether it's going to show your posts or not, because when you make a post, let's say you've got 2,000 friends, Facebook doesn't show it to all those friends. It shows it to a subsection of those friends and then says, okay, what reaction is this post getting? If it's getting a good engagement, I'll show it to more people. If it's not, I won't. So that's why you tend to see like popular posts with lots of comments. That's why you see those all over your newsfeed, because Facebook's showing them to more people, because it goes, this is a good post, more people want to see it. So with that in mind, what happens is if you make 5 posts in a day, your most popular posts will get shown to your audience and the other ones will just disappear into the abyss. So it's kind of a waste of time. So
that makes sense. So quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if you made 5 really amazing posts, still the most popular one will get shown and the other ones will disappear. So you've kind of wasted your time with the other 4. Why not spread it out? And then you've got 1 post per day, Monday to Friday, and there's all your content for the week sorted. The other thing with that is, maybe other people can do it. I've never seen an example of it, but I've never seen an example of someone posting more than once a day on a consistent basis, them being able to keep the quality of their posts high. So this is a more subtle issue. A lot of people are like, well, the more I post, the more my audience can see it. I want my audience to see my post, so I'm going to post as much as possible. But there is a 4-letter word that we give to information we receive that we don't welcome and don't want. What is that word, Luana?
Spam.
Spam, yes, exactly. See, a 4-letter word that's not a swear word. I'm getting good at this. It's spam. So if you've got someone on your friend list who makes a good post, you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they make a good post tomorrow. And then on the next day, they make like 7 posts that are all mediocre. You're like, oh, right. I thought this person was posting good stuff. Now I'm not sure. Then the day after, they post another 7 mediocre posts. You're like, you might unfollow them. You might unfriend them. Or you might be like, well, I'm not going to unfriend them, but I'm just not going to react to their posts anymore. And then you stop interacting with their content and Facebook stops showing you their content because it thinks you're not interested. Because Facebook's always deciding, well, which friends of Luana do I want to show her the content of? So if let's say you're married and you say to Facebook, I'm married to this person, you're going to see their post first because Facebook assumes that you're interested in your husband's post. If you're if you're best friends with someone, you comment on all their posts and you comment back and forward all the time, it's going to show you more of their posts. If you talk a lot to someone on Messenger, it's going to show you their posts because Facebook knows you're friends with this person. All of these little things kind of tie into whether or not someone sees your posts. So the more someone interacts with you, the better. If you show them more content, they're less likely to interact with it. But I just think more importantly, I want to train my audience to think that every time they see my name in the newsfeed, that it's going to be something good, something that's going to benefit them, something where they're either going to have a good laugh and be entertained from my post, or they're going to learn something, or it's going to be something that's going to benefit them in some way, as opposed to just a rambling nonsense post. That's what I want to train them to think. I want to train them to be like, as soon as I see a post from Richard, I need to read every single word of this. So my focus is on keeping the quality high, and I don't even post every day. Like, especially if I'm on holiday. Sometimes on holiday, I went on holiday in September, and it's now December, and I don't think I posted once that week. Maybe I made one post while I was on holiday, because I was on holiday. I didn't really feel like I wanted to talk about business. I didn't have much to say, so I didn't say it. And guess what? My audience didn't forget I existed. They didn't stop. They didn't, after a week, they didn't come and be like, "Oh my God, you've not posted. I don't want to hear from you anymore." It just doesn't work that way. It's like, you take a week off. The world isn't, the sky isn't going to fall in. People aren't going to go crazy. I'd rather you, if you didn't have anything to say, you waited a few days and made another quality post rather than post, mediocre rubbish. Because that's what most people are doing. And when you see more mediocre rubbish in your news feed, you're like, awesome, I've got more mediocre content. No, you're not. You're like, okay, this person posts rubbish.
Very, very interesting. So how do you turn those engagements then into leads?
Good question. So let's have a swig of water first. So what we've got to, what people have got to understand the difference is the difference between a post that gets engagement and a post that gets leads. Sometimes they can be the same thing, but generally they're not. So an engaging post is a post where you ask your audience some sort of question. I asked a simple question about. Generally, what I'm looking for is, the way I come up with content is I'm just going about my daily life, and then things happen to me, and I go, oh, that'll make content. So, for example, a couple of months ago, I was like, should I put my eggs in the fridge or outside the fridge? I'm not even sure what the answer is here. I normally keep them outside the fridge, but I don't actually know. So I was like, oh, why don't I ask my audience? So I said, eggs, should they be kept in the fridge or out the fridge? ? And it got 100 comments, because it's really easy for people to engage with that. They can just put in the fridge or out the fridge, but they can write a longer response if they want. So if you want to make your own kind of engagement post, that's a great template behind it. Ask a question that's only got 2 answers, that's really easy for people to answer quickly on their phone when they're scrolling, but they can answer more if they like, especially if it's not a question they've heard hundreds of times before. So don't say something that's like, what's the biggest challenge in your business? Because everyone's asking that. It's so boring. It's just like, get lost. I'm not interested. So try and make it something that they've not heard 100 times before. So that's an engagement post. Well, that post doesn't get me any clients, does it? But what it does do is it gets people noticing my content, and it makes Facebook more likely to show my post to those people in future. So the kind of posts that get leads and clients are credibility posts, where you show your audience, these are the results I'm getting for my clients right now. And if you can make those clients be very similar to your prospects. So when my client Luana came to me, she was in the position that you're in right now. And then we went through this simple process. So you make the process really believable. You went through this simple 3-step process, and now she's signing up clients like crazy. The process took a couple of calls where we jumped on a couple of mock calls where we went back and forward, and I told her how to fix a sales technique without being sleazy or weird, and being completely natural and authentic to herself. And now she's signing people up like crazy and enjoying the process too. So, and then I have a testimony from you that shows that you actually got that result. And now people who want that result are like, I would like a piece of that. That's the kind of content that gets leads.
Brilliant. So how do you bring new people in so that they can see that content?
Generally, I find people who I want to add as friends. So in the first instances when I was looking for people, I'll go into sort of similar Facebook groups, or go into Facebook groups where, like about business or whatever, and look for people asking questions, look for people commenting, and people saying, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? All those people asking questions have got problems that aren't answered. So I'd add them as a friend, and then start posting content that speaks to those people on my newsfeed. And then they see that content, and then if they like that content, if they believe I can help them, what happens? Well, they send me a message on Messenger and say, hey, I saw your post about XYZ. Can you help me? Now you're into a sales conversation. And my goal at that point is to either filter them out quickly if they're not a prospect, like either they don't have the money to pay me, or I can't help them, or I just don't like them as a person. you know, which happens sometimes. Like when I'm working, this last one's something that people kind of don't really think about. But if I'm spending like a couple of months talking to you a lot, like every day sometimes, I don't want you to be a insert non-rude word here. You know, I want you to be someone.
Damn right. It's not worth the energy drain.
No, I didn't quit a boring corporate day job to then go into, to then go into my own work that I don't enjoy either. I want to be working with people who I like. So I kind of qualify them out. You know, even little things like sometimes someone will just message me and say, "Tell me about the ecosystem," like in their first message. And not always, but most of the time, that's a red flag. Because that's just a person I'm not going to get along with. Someone who has it isn't polite in the slightest. Whereas the kind of person I like says, "Hey, I saw your post about this. I really liked what you said there. It made sense to me. I wondered, like, would you be able to tell me a bit more about the ecosystem? I was just wondering if it would work for me." Like more conversational, like a normal person would speak to a friend, not like, "Tell me about this." Like I'm some grunt service provider who, just there to kind of like, provide value for him, and he doesn't even have the time to give me like basic pleasantries, But yeah, the appearing messenger. So I had those people, they appear in Messenger. I filter out the wrong ones and then convert the ones who should be converted. It's a pretty straightforward system, but there's a lot of kind of like cogs in the machine that you have to get right. Otherwise, you're doing what most people are doing, which is they're putting content out there. No one's interested in it, so they're not getting any leads in their inbox, so they're not signing anyone up. Or maybe they get the odd lead, and the person should be signing up, but they don't know what to say to them, and then the lead slips through their fingers, and it's like, "Oh, there's another person who I could have helped, who would have been awesome in my program, and I lost them, and I don't know where I went wrong."
Yes. So where else do people go wrong? Like, what are the practices to avoid on Facebook?
We've covered most of them. So hard selling and just being like, "Buy my program, buy my program, buy my program." Not showing any credibility. So not showing your audience, okay, I'm not just someone who talks a good game. I actually get results. Not giving enough value. So not giving something to your audience where they're like, "Wow, this person posts useful content," instead of just a bunch of endless ads on my newsfeed. And finally, not being entertaining. So you've got to think about the mentality of why, like, if I ask you, like, why do people go on Facebook? Why do people scroll their news feeds, Luana? What would you say?
They want entertainment. They're there for the social aspect. That's what Facebook's about. They want to be entertained.
Yeah. Well, what's the, like, when someone clicks on Facebook, what's the reason they're clicking on it in that moment? And they're not necessarily thinking, "I want to be entertained," but what's the reason they're clicking on Facebook?
Well, they want connection.
Honestly, there is that, but they do want deep
Go on.
Deep down, that's the main reason.
Mind?
Yeah, I mean, deep down, yes, they want connection. I agree with you, but that's probably not what they're thinking. The reason they're actually going on there is boredom.
Yes.
Like they're just sat. They're either sat on the bus, on the train, or they're even sat driving and they're at traffic lights. They go onto Facebook, like waiting because they can't wait like 30 seconds for the lights to change. Or they're in their day jobs and they're sat there.
Sometimes it's completely mindless. Obviously. You just find yourself on the timeline and you don't even know how you got there.
I would say the majority of the time we are completely mindless, and literally the majority of the time we go onto Facebook, it's an unconscious decision. We just go, "I'm sat here and I've got nothing to do," or "I'm sat here and like let's say the average person sat in a corporate job. I've got some report to write that's incredibly boring.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly check Facebook before I go on there, because Facebook might be entertaining. The little red like icon where it says how many notifications you've got. Oh, there's a 3 next to that. I wonder, maybe someone's commented on that post I made. Maybe someone's like. Those things are just like, the way it's designed is like to make us, give us that little dopamine hit every time we go on.
It's clever, isn't it?
It's so clever, but so dangerous, and that's a discussion for another day. But it's so clever, and that's why we keep on coming back to it, because it's addictive. So we click on it and we're scrolling on news feeds just completely mindlessly. Nobody is sat there thinking, "Do you know what? I would love to scroll my news feed today to learn some useful information about how to market my business better. Or I would love to learn some useful information about how to lose the extra 20 pounds around my belly and get in shape. I would love to learn some extra information about how to become more enlightened spiritually," or whatever. No one's thinking that. They're just like, I'm looking for something amusing. Or anything outrageous and controversial where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that Trump's gone and done this again. This is outrageous. So anything that makes them annoyed, they enjoy that. Anything that makes them laugh, any kind of cat videos, anything like that. That's what they're kind of on there for. They're not on there to be kind of lectured by you. So what I always try to do with my content is make it entertaining. If I can make someone laugh while teaching them something, it kind of slips in the sort of the teaching aspect in the back door. They don't think, oh, here's a boring lesson like I'm at school. Nobody wants to be back at school. They want entertainment. So if I can entertain them at the same time, then they're going to kind of, it makes my content more palatable, and now it opens them up to actually consuming it and then joining my program. The big problem people have at this point is they think, oh, well, Richard, I'm not a funny person. I'm not entertaining. I can't do that, which is part of what I teach on my program. Part of what I show people how to do, because there is a formula to being entertaining. It's not about being a comedian where you're making like 7 jokes a minute, because those kind of people tend to come across as clowns anyway, and no one takes them seriously. It's about being able to, mostly what I do is about giving people that feeling of recognition. The things that annoy them, the things that other coaches are doing and the content they're making that annoys them, I can just call that out and be like, you've seen this, it's annoying, isn't it? And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe someone's finally pointed it out. That's the kind of thing I do a lot, and it makes people laugh. There's a few other things, but generally being entertaining is just really, really great on Facebook. It's what people want. Most people's messages are so goddamn boring that even however good the message is, you're just not going to consume it because you just can't be bothered.
Yeah. If it's the same thing that people are talking about over and over again, it just kind of goes over your head, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, another thing. I think I mentioned it in slightly different words, but yeah, it's. Not being boring is also not making posts that we've all heard 100 times before. And I gave some examples of those earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
But this means that you have to raise the bar. You being the collective you, not you personally, Alana. I know you're good at what you do. You have to raise the bar on your actual ability in your niche. A lot of people just aren't good enough at what they're doing. Like I've signed up so many service providers and stuff over the years, and it's maybe like I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of them who I actually think are good. Like not even brilliant, just good. Like and most people just aren't that good at what they do. They see that people are making money online, but like, oh, I'm going to become a life coach. And they have no basis whatsoever for being a life coach. There's no reason for them to be. They don't have that much insight. You look at they're not making any money, they don't have any kind of relationship, they're not even in good shape, and you're like, well, those are like the 3 important things that I look for in life: health, wealth, relationships. You don't have any of those, yet you're a life coach. So a lot of people just need to get better at what it is they do, so they have the level of insight necessary to be able to make these kind of posts that I'm making that other people can't make. And if you're only mediocre at what you do, if you've only just done a business course last week in online marketing, you cannot make these posts. So it's kind of go away and get better at what you do and then come back so you've got this level of insight. If you don't have a level of insight, maybe you're just not good enough.
Yes, I love
I feel
that.
like you've got me ranting today, Luana. Like I wasn't angry before I came on, and now I'm
You're angry. I love it.
Angry man. Like I'm an angry man.
So any final words for anyone out there who wants to increase or get better at their organic Facebook marketing? What final words do you have to say?
Honestly, if you're not doing this already, just start adding people who you think would be ideal for your business. Make sure your profile says what you do. So maybe your cover image. If you can find me, if you find me on Facebook, you can see what I'm doing in my profile as an example. But make sure your cover image says what you do, and make sure your bio says what you do. So when people come to your profile, it's really clear and obvious what you do. So when you add people who want what you do, they're more likely to accept. And then just start making posts on a daily basis. But have a look at what your competitors are doing what kind of posts they're making, and basically make the exact opposite. Don't make the mistake of what other people do, which is to go, well, this person's successful in this field, I'm going to copy their posts and write similar things, because then you just become like a watered down version of them. You need to become like your own unique thing, so people follow you and go, I haven't seen this before. I made a post only yesterday on my feed where I got a number of comments. Like one person said, that's really interesting. I'd never thought about this that way before. You want people saying those kind of things to you instead of just posting generic stuff we've all heard before. Because all that happens when you post generic stuff is you get like 3 likes and no comments and no one cares. So if you're already trying to do this, think about how you can stand out, how you can be better, how you can be more unique and give messages that people haven't heard before. If you haven't started yet, well, start doing that. That's what I would recommend for anyone. Then when you get the leads in your inbox, well, that's another conversation after that. But most people aren't even at that stage.
Yes, really good advice. So how can people find out more about you? Where can they find you?
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook. My name's Richard Fletcher. So if you search for me, you'll find me somewhere on there. Or if you go to my website, magicsourcemarketing.com, you can have a look. There's more information on there, more case studies, more information. There's a 20-minute video on there that you can watch, which talks more about how to find what I call your magic source. Your magic source is, how do you stand out from all your competitors? How are you different to all that massive noise? It's been a constant theme of this podcast, hasn't it? This interview, like, standing out from all your competition, not being the same as everyone else. Not being different for the sake of it. A lot of people, the way they try to stand out is by using like 15 swear words every sentence. That's not how you do it. It's by having a genuinely unique message that's interesting, that's different to everyone else, that's actually useful. So there's a video on there you can watch, magicsourcemarketing.com. I've also got a Facebook group that people could join, which is also called Magic Source. It's called the Magic Source for Online Marketing. So if you search for that, you can find it. You're welcome to join. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard. And before you get off, do you know what time it is?
What time it is? Is it time for Room 101 or whatever you call it?
It's time for Get in the Bin.
Yes. I was going to say it's 9:56 a.m., but I was like, no, that's not what she wants to hear. That's not it.
You got it. Okay, so this is the time where you get to choose one business idea or one business practice, and you get to eliminate it from the whole world right here, right now. I'm placing that power in your hands, Richard. Wow. Choose wisely. What are you going to throw in the bin?
This is a huge responsibility. I feel quite nervous right now. Well, do you know what? As you know, I'm a deeply angry man, clearly. It's hard for me to choose only one, but there is one. It's funnel hacking. You've heard of funnel hacking, right?
Tell us what funnel hacking means.
Okay, so funnel hacking comes from ClickFunnels, and I'm sure we've all heard of ClickFunnels. The idea of ClickFunnels is they created this idea of funnel hacking, where essentially what you do is you look at someone else who's doing well, a good website, a good ad, whatever, a good landing page, and you go, okay, here's how do I copy this? And you literally copy their landing page or whatever it is they're doing. And I've seen videos on the ClickFunnels website where they talk about, here's how to funnel hack. We'll go to this page and see how quickly you can copy everything this person's done. And they copy like a web page in like 5 minutes. So no, I'm not saying it's not impressive to be able to do that quickly, but I mean, to me, that's just a fancy way of saying plagiarism. Now, I don't want to be sued by ClickFunnels for saying that they're promoting plagiarism. I don't think they're actually promoting that. What they're actually promoting is go and get the idea from somewhere else and then see, okay, here's the principles behind what's working, and then apply it to yourself. But the way they teach it, to me, in my opinion at least, the way they teach it is like, go and copy this thing. And people are always attracted to the laziest possible solution, aren't they? Nobody wants to be like, okay, I'm going to sit and study for the next 10 years to figure out how to do this. They're like, I'll just copy this and make lots of money. But the problem is, as I said only a few minutes ago, when you copy what someone else is doing, you become a watered down imitation of them. Also, if you don't understand the principles behind why this web page, why this landing page works, why this webinar works or whatever, if you don't understand the principles behind that, you'll copy it and then try to put your own thing on it and try and make it your own. And then you'll probably miss one of those principles. You'll probably screw it up. You'll probably get it wrong. And then you'll be like, why am I not getting any calls booked for my webinar? Why am I not getting any people putting their email address on my landing page? Why am I not getting any leads on my Facebook post? It's because you missed the underlying principles behind it. So I would throw funnel hacking in the bin, because I feel like it's promoting people. It's encouraging people to be lazy and not learn the principles and just copy what other people are doing, instead of actually building a solid foundation of marketing, a solid foundation of learning to write copy, learning to sell, understanding what makes people take action, learning how to do that, and building solid business skills for life that are going to serve them forever, instead of just promoting this kind of quick fix, get rich quick, copy this landing page overnight mentality. See, I'm ranting again. To me.
So there we go. Richard, funnel hacking is in the bin. It's gone. As simple as that. It's all gone.
I'm going to check the ClickFunnels website after this. If it's still on there, then, we'll be having words.
Oh, Richard, thank you for today. This has been absolutely full of gold. For anybody listening, thank you. And always remember, you weren't born to be ordinary. You were born to shine.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.